Welcome back, guys, to another episode of the Pushing Limits podcast. I am here today in beautiful Big Island, Hawaii, with Matt Ferino, aka Ulua Matt. What's up, brother? How's it going, man?
Good, my friend. How are you today?
Good, dude. Good. Thanks for having us out here on the Big Island.
Yes, sir. Pretty epic morning in the water.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, you already gave us just a little taste, man. We haven't even been here 24 hours, so we're stoked to see what else the Big Island holds.
Yeah, this is a place that is hard to be topped. It's been my home, born and raised all my life. Very, very fortunate. Now I am spoiled. I could not live a life like this anywhere else. I love to travel, get out other places. The best part of every vacation is coming home.
Oh, man,
Calling
there's
this
not a lot
home,
of people that
so.
could say that, man. So tell us a little bit about yourself, man. How'd you end up here on the Big Island? And yeah.
So, very interesting story. My parents came to the North Shore of Oahu on their honeymoon, fell in love. Not hard to do here in Hawaii. Any of the islands are very unique and beautiful. They all have their own features. Now the Big Island is my home, though I was born Kahuku on the North Shore of Oahu. My parents got adopted in by a Hawaiian family. They call it hanai here in Hawaiian culture. So the Hawaiians adopted them into their family while they were on their honeymoon. They never left. They called my grandma, said they could all have her things. We're not coming back. And lucky for me, I was born Kahuku on the North Shore of Oahu. We lived at Sunset Beach, so I was about 3 or 4 years old, and we left there because it was getting kind of crazy in the early 80s. Oahu was becoming quite populated, where the Big Island is very rural and country still. And we moved to the Hilo side, Hawaiian Acres. So we kind of joked that we traded the beach for the boonies and the sand for the mud, because we lived at Sunset Beach, which for many that know and those that don't, it is kind of in the 7 Mile Miracle, the mecca of surfing. Like, that's kind of the iconic place of Hawaii, really. Yeah, big wave surfing. And 3.5, 4 years old, left the beach and came to the Hilo side. So many know it as the wet side of the island, the rainy side of the island. And grew up in the mountains. My mom was a single parent, raised me on her own. Amazing woman. I credit all of who I am today to her. She made sure I made it to the water and to the ocean, because I was infatuated with the ocean here in Hawaii. From the time I could crawl on the North Shore, playing in the waves and the shore break, and then moving into the boonies was a pretty hard transition. But I can remember, oddly enough, even back when I was 4 years old, that now I'm playing in the bushes and the boonies and the mud. My dad was still around a little bit, but he ended up getting out of the picture, and mom made sure she'd get me to the water and ocean. And I was just catching these little fish in the pond, and she'd always, leave those little ones alone, but I knew I could catch them, and catching is part of the allure as a fisherman, right? Fishing is
Right.
great, and catching is catching. Any day, like we said earlier, no bad days when on the water.
That's
When
right.
you're out there fishing, right? That's part of the whole, any fisherman can relate, only a fisherman knows, but catching is just the bonus of it all. So as that little kid, and always catching those little fish, which they slowly became bigger and bigger. My mom would drop me off at the Hilo Mats and Pier, the docks and the pier. Even today, all of the harbors and the piers get a lot of, we call them a coolie when they're mature adults. When they're juveniles, they're called a halalu. So they're bait balls. They're in the scad family. They'll have bigger bait balls, and they'll hide in the harbors for protection. And the uluas and the jacks and predators, kahalas, which are amberjacks, would come in the harbors and eat them. So a lot of the really good fishermen would be in there catching those. A lot of them would catch them to eat. The old Filipino men, many different cultures. So Hawaii is like this boiling pot of all this diversity and culture.
Yeah.
And a lot of this, the Asian culture was brought by the sugarcane workers. C&H Sugar Company brought Asian culture to work the fields. Japanese, Chinese, Filipinos, Koreans. This is also where we get this amazing fusion of food, right? All these different ethnicities that came here. And a lot of those cultures revolve their lives around the ocean and their food sources and feeding and things. So anyhow, back to the harbor, fishing for these small bait fish. My mom would drop me off. I'd be alone, and there's always 20 fishermen out there, and there's usually the good ones that are catching consistently, like any fishery, right? And
Right.
I'd be bugging the old man like, hey, what are you using for bait? You know, like I see everyone's out here trying, and like you're the guy every single time, and he's kind of cold shouldering me like, you know, go away, kid. Where's your dad? And I'm like, I don't have a dad. And he's like, everyone has a dad. I said, well, I don't know my dad. He's not around. My mom dropped me off, you know, and whether he felt a little bad for me or whatever, he'd give me this little fly and say, here, try one of these. Next thing I'd be catching the fish with this old man, and he's trying to keep it quiet and his composure, right? And get me
Yeah.
to do the same as we celebrate as fishermen with any and every catch, big or small, right?
Right.
And there's a type of fish in Hawaii called a lai, and they'll take the skin, and it's in the mackerel family, but they'll take that skin, they'll dry it out and cut little slivers and tie their own tiny flies. So like artificial is always amazing to work with, but you can't fake the real thing, right?
Right.
So he's taking a little piece of this dried lai skin and making these tiny little flies, and when you really look at them, they're pretty ugly. The fish eat them.
Yeah.
It's one of those things, right? It's like that's what this old man, that was his secret weapon he had give to me. And over time, a lot of them are catching them to eat them. But you catch one of those and hook it up and pitch it out there, and a lot of times just free swim it.
Yeah.
And the bigger jacks, the omilu or the bluefin trevally or the GTs, the giant trevally, which we call the ulua here, we're usually working the balling up the bait. So a lot of times you pitch it back out there and he's going to be singled out, and you start catching bigger fish, right? As a young man, wasn't even a man yet. I was 12 years old, my first ulua, and the addiction is real. That was kind of like I was hook, line, and sinker, yeah.
So 12 years old, you caught your first one,
Very
and then
first ulua.
after that, the rest is history.
It was history, man. It was like I had a lot of older guys I hung around. My sister is 10 years older than me, so I was 12 and she was already married, and these guys were all ulua fishermen, avid fishermen. The first ulua I ever caught was a pretty awesome story because live bait anywhere is kind of really, really good. Here in Hawaii, the uluas are the king of the reef. They eat everything on the reef, the moray eels, the octopus, any of the reef fish, but they have their favorites. So
Yeah.
these older men I fished with were really hard on me, and that's what created me to be a good fisherman. You know, I was a 12-year-old kid. They're like, you come, you bring your own sleeping bag, your hiking pack, your water, you're hungry, you better bring some food.
Yeah.
Right?
We ain't taking care of you. You
No,
want to come, you
we're
can come.
we're
but
not wiping your butt or your nose, kid.
Yeah.
You want to come, and that's what really helped shape me to be such a good fisherman. Because my very first ulua, I borrowed an ulua reel, and I had a crappy little. It was a good rod, Shimano rod, but it was a dunking, short little 8 or 9 foot. Our ulua rods here are custom made for Hawaii in Hawaii. There's no other fishery like how we do shore casting here with our slide bait rods. Totally different. You can't buy a ulua rod anywhere else in the world.
really.
They're made here. I'll show you some of my rods in the future. They're beautiful. I got a bunch of custom wrapped rods, but
What makes the Ulua so unique?
so they are recognized around the world to be one of the strongest pound for pound fighting fish in the world. They here in Hawaiian culture, they're referred to as the king of the reef. They would actually use ulua in sacrificial offerings and things of that sort because it had a stature. You know, they respected it. These uluas will come blow over the reef sideways, 80, 100 pounders to get up into waterways. We have a lot of streams on the east side of the island, Hamakua towards Hilo, or even in Kona where there's this brackish pools. A lot of these hotels on the coast were built in lava fields around where there was natural brackish ponds. A brackish pond fresh water mixing with the salt water. Well, you get different species of fish like wowo or a mullet, a hole, they call them a Hawaiian flagtail. These different species will hang in the brackish waters and fresh water in the streams, and the luas will come in to feed on them. So they'll come up over, it can be standing 1.5 feet, 2 foot tall and come up over 6 inches of water to get up in there to feed aggressively. And
Really?
like they're just one of the baddest fish on the planet. You're catching these off the rocks. This is shore casting, right? They're also well known for, a lot of people around the world plug. They surface poppers, plugging for them, and you get into a big one, a 60 plus pounder, and it's hang on. A lot of people see the fish, the bigger uluas we catch, and they're like, man, that must have took forever. Well, it's short-lived. Either they win or you win.
Right.
They're the king of the reef. If you don't stop them and get them, they get you.
Yeah.
So it's really, it takes a lot of time and skill. With slide bait fishing, how we're doing it's monofilament, 80-pound mono, which actually has give on the reef.
Yeah.
So when it starts rubbing, you back off the drag and play it, and you can get it to come loose. We have a wind-on leader. Different styles vary, but some guys run a short leader, maybe even only 8 feet. I run a long leader, 20 feet of 250-pound, 200 to 300-pound scratch line. That's usually where they're rubbing into the coral and the rocks.
So do they usually hole up? They go hide in their
Sometimes
holes,
they
or do they run
will,
flat?
depending on the spot, but generally just during the run, they're looking for an obstacle, a ledge, a coral head, a hole, any of all of the above, you know. So you're trying to, when it's clean, you're getting no rubbing, really boost them and put the hurt on them. And then when you start feeling some rub, back off your drag and loosen it. So out here, knowing your spots is critical. They're anywhere the water is, you know. Some of my fishing mentors growing up all my life taught me and told me there's no fences in the ocean. Ain't nothing stopping anything from swimming where they want. You can fish wherever you want, but your chance of landing the mecca of ulua fishing here in Hawaii is 100+ pounder. You're trying to catch one over 100 pounds off the rocks. Shore casting, strictly casting. You're not swimming a line out. You're not floating out with the jug. You're not kayaking it out. There's an official 100+ club. It's part of the elite club. I've been catching them since I was 12. I'm very blessed to have caught as many giant uluas as I have. My biggest is 98.5 pounds.
Oh, man.
So you can't get much closer than that.
Yeah.
We just got done having the giant Ulua challenge, Estukunaga Store Ulua challenge. The who's there. We always see in fellowship, and I know a lot of those guys, and a lot of them, even though they don't know me, I know how many 100-pounders they caught, because some of these legends have 5 under their belt. Some of them have 7. Some have 1. Some have 2. I have none. Ulua Matt has none, right? So when I first got with my wife, we were still just dating, but I told her I'm not getting married or having kids till I catch my 100-pounder. A few years into our relationship, every year I'd fish this Ulua challenge, and it'd usually land right around her birthday. Some of the weigh-ins were actually on her birthday, June 14th. So we're fish round the clock Thursday morning from now it's 5 a.m. till Sunday 10 in the morning, day and night, round the clock. You fish your spot, then you come to the weigh, and everyone's tired like zombies. It's hard fishing day and night, 3 nights, 4 days, right? You're hustling hard the whole time, catching bait, working your poles, and hopefully catching some fish. But a couple years in, she's like putting the pieces together. She's like, honey, you're Ulua Matt. We come to these tournaments. You know a lot of people. A lot of people know you. And like, you don't have 100-pounder. I said, honey, you got to understand fishing. And those of us that all fish, you don't buy 100-pounders. You don't buy 1,000-pound marlin. You don't buy, I don't care how good you are. There's a lot of luck involved, right?
Yeah.
And one of my favorite mentors, Chip Von Moles, legend in Kailua Kona here, old school guy. He's got 1,000-pound marlin in I don't know how many different oceans on this planet. Many different oceans. 1,000-pound bluefin tuna, Nova Scotia, blacks on the Great Barrier Reef. I think he's got 4 in Kona. Like, again, this being my fishing mentality, knowing their fish they caught, where and when, and the poundage and everything else, right? It's part of the addiction, and it's my life, right? It's a lifestyle. That Chip taught me. A lot of people just say, oh, that Chip's just lucky. That Chip's just lucky. And we all count on luck, I would think, if you're any good of a fisherman, right? No matter how good you are. But Chip used to always say, all's luck is when preparation meets opportunity. You have your knots right, your gears right, you check your line, your leaders are right, your hooks are right, all your stuff's right, and when the opportunity presents itself, you capitalize.
Yeah.
Right? It's whether you're spearfishing, free diving, shore casting, popping, chasing a 1,000-pound marlin in the World Cup, right? 4th of July, the World Cup's right around the corner. That's a big one. And so all these different fisheries. As a kid, I grew up in Hilo, pretty poor. I mean, I wouldn't call myself poor kid. You know, I came from humble beginnings. My mom was a single parent raising me, made sure she got me to the ocean. I never even stepped foot first time on any kind of a decent fishing boat, I was probably 16, where somebody just let me hop on a charter boat out of Honokohau with them. I got to go out with them, you know, and see. We hooked a big one, jumped it off, pulled hook, and got to go out in another little skiff. And I'm the kid, I'm the new kid, I'm so into fishing. I'm already shore fishing. I'm addicted to shore fishing. Now offshore, it's a whole nother world, right?
Right.
I get out there and they're telling me, yeah, the birds, we're looking for the birds. The birds are usually working the bait, you know. So I'm sitting there all day and I'm like, Uncle, there, this bird, you know, everything he told me. Boom, we go to the birds, catch like beautiful 40-pound bull mahi. I'm just ecstatic, right? Again, I'm hooked. It's like a whole new Ulua. I was hooked at 12. I get into the boat industry and get hooked out there. And over time, started commercial fishing offshore for tunas. Been out to the Sea Mountains, did that for a while with some people, and worked a bunch on deckhanding in Kona. And we have mutual friends that are some of the top lure makers in the world. So very privileged. You would think I own 3 charter boats. So a closet of marlin lures I have in my closet at
Yeah.
home, which the wife doesn't understand. I try to explain to her, how many purses do you have? How many pairs of shoes do you have, right?
You
Like,
gotta
it's
have one
not,
for every occasion. You
that's
never
it.
know.
And three for different colors, right?
Exactly.
Like, you gotta have the mixture.
Yeah.
But back to Hilo, 12-year-old kid. We varied a little bit there, shifted back to my first Ulua, that Shimano rod, just a short little dunking rod, borrowed a Ulua reel, asked the uncle to help me cast it for me. He's like, I'm not casting it for you, you cast it. They got nice 13-foot custom rods. They're casted out in the deep, and I try to cast and just blunk it, dunk shot right in the front, you know, and it's the ocean. No fences in the ocean, like I said, right? Well, all night they're catching these small nighttime fish, mempachi and a hole and a veil, different species of nighttime reef fish, and that's what they hook in the back and use for live bait. Slide bait fishing, you cast your rod first, drag your lead, get it anchored up. You have a rock spike pounded into the spike or into the rocks, pound that spike in. A lot of the spots have cemented PVC pipes in there.
Oh, wow.
So you put your rod in there, you're anchored up. 80-pound main line, 250 scratch line, your stop ring, and then a half of your main line, usually 40 or 50-pound breakaway. That's anchored up, 10-ounce lead. You choose your bait. A big fillet of moray eel, a whole octopus like we got to see this morning. We got to play and hold that octopus. That night, they're all using live bait. So they pick one of the baits out of the pond, hook it in the back. There's a barrel of swivel clips on the line, slides down. That fish is alive, cruising on the line. There's a big bail, safety cord. It's just set there. When the ulua comes by, bites it, it's on a circle hook, bites it, sounds that bell off, breaks your breakaway lead, and you just run out there and proceed to fight the fish. Then
Got
you're
it.
hooked up to it. So we can go through that a whole other time. I'll kind of show you the tackle and all
Yeah,
that.
absolutely.
Again, something you really mainly only see here in Hawaii. It's one of the most popular fisheries here. A lot of people don't own boats. They can't afford boats. I never barely been on a boat. You know, when I was a kid, it was just strictly shore fishing, learning. And like almost any fishing, to be a good fisherman catching big game, it's all about the bait. Yeah, you learn about how to catch the bait and what they want, and you're going to be able to catch the fish, right? And
Right.
it's just about anywhere, right? So I'm asking the uncles to borrow one of their baits that they caught because they had a bunch in the pond, and again, they were hard on me. They're like, no, we're not going to give you a live bait. You want a bait, you need to catch your own. Well, I was 12. I was trying and losing my gear. You catch big island, as we call it here. You're stuck in the reef and the rocks. And, like, if you don't know what you're doing and you lose your gear, you know, you touch the bottom and you're stuck. You lose your leads and your hooks. So I tried a bunch that night, and it was windy and rough. This is on the Ka'u coast where I kind of grew up fishing, Punaluu area, on the rough side of South Point. So it's tricky. It's dangerous fishing, whole different fishing than on the leeward side, the Kona side. Wee hours of the morning, I'm asking them, pleading with them, give me a bait. They're like, nope, you got to catch your own. I'm tired. I'm ready to go to bed. So I couldn't catch a fish, and I had a whole squid, or ika as we call it in Hawaii. And everything eats the ika. Like in the daytime, that thing won't last out there 20 minutes. Nighttime, you only have a handful of species. In the daytime, you have well over 100, right?
Right.
The reef is just teeming with life in the daytime. So that's all I had. I took my ika, and I had my Ulua slide rig, hook it with the 16-0 a couple of times, slide it down there. We go to sleep, only slept a couple hours. It's twilight at 5:30 in the morning. Kind of woke up early, and we're sitting there, and it was pretty windy and rough all night. And being 12, I'm all giddy, like, oh man, there's still a chance. This is the prime time, right? Sunrise, the prime time to get the bite. And they're laughing at me. They're like, man, your Ika is gone hours ago. That squid's gone. Everything loves to eat it. And it's soft. It rips off the hook. It's just not going to stay. Like, we love a giant fillet of moray eel because it's like leather. That stuff ain't coming off. Something's going to eat it, whether it's another eel or ulua or whatever. But the only reason that Ika was there all night was because it was night. And now it's coming twilight. Even at 5 in the morning, all the daytime fish wake up and they start pecking at it. It was still just twilight and dark. That's the east side of the island. So the sun comes out of the ocean over there in the east. It gets bright earlier over there. You know, we're on the big island. It makes a big difference. It starts getting twilight 4:35 in the morning. And we hear the bell go off. Ding, 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 pole hooks up, get the strike. We go running out there and they have their poles. They had 4 poles, 2 each. And their poles are just standing there straight, and it took all of us a minute to realize my little 8-foot Shimano dunking pod pole was bent over the edge of the cliff there, and I was on, and I'm going crazy, and it was under 15 pounds. It might have been 13-pound Ulua, but I fought it, reeled it, brought it up, you know, my very first Ulua on my own with the squid that they made me, you know. I didn't shut up the whole ride home. They didn't want to take me for months. They're just like, this damn kid, yeah.
Really good shit.
No, that was the only strike we had that night. That was the only fish we got, you know, and I was hooked right there. It was like every penny I had, I was mowing lawns and stuff, save money, because the custom Ulua rods at that time, they were only one piece, 13-foot long rod, and back then they were between 200 to 300 for a graphite rod, the best custom rod you could get. So
Yeah.
I got one at a time and started fishing more and more. And again, I won't call it a poor kid. I was a humble kid. My mom made sure I had what I needed, but I had a little beat up Volkswagen. It was a Rabbit, actually, Volkswagen Rabbit. It was one of my first few cars I ever had. And
Really?
I would ramble that thing over to my fishing spot from Volcano. I was living in Volcano. It was about 30 minutes down to the Punaluu area. Park. I didn't have 4-wheel drive, so I had to hike the 4-wheel drive Jeep trail that would cut my trail in half. But a lot of spots I still love to hike today. You know, a lot of the people aren't willing to put the work in. Usually the best fishing are off the beaten path, right? You
Right,
gotta
yeah,
put the work
absolutely.
in.
You got to push a little bit farther to find the best spots, right?
I've always been willing to do that since I was a kid. I still do it now. Last month I hiked in. I'll give you a picture of this pack I hiked in. People are like, you got to be kidding me, right? And I'm like, it usually pays off more times than not. Yeah. Like hiking into these spots. So, you know, I park my Volkswagen out by the golf carts and I got to hike. A lot of it's not even 4-wheel drive road, it's gravel road, but my Rabbit's not going to make it. So I hike in there and go lure fishing. And there's a little store up the road from my mom's, Hirano store. It's still there, but Eric, the owner, he Ulua fished and had the nice truck and the nice gear and all the nice stuff, you know. And I would hike in, go catch. I caught 2 Uluas. This particular story I remember quite well because I had 2 nice Uluas. One was close to 50 pounds and one was right around 30 pounds. And so I got to make a couple of trips and hike it out. And I was a pretty poor kid. I didn't have a cooler. I had a tarp in the back of my Rabbit, and I'd throw these big Uluas in my tarp with what little ice I had, and then drove to the store to Eric, where I'm like, Eric, man, and he's like, you again? What, you caught again? You know, and he comes out, I show him, and it's leaking Ulua juice and fish in the back of my Rabbit, you know, and I'm so pumped, and this guy drives some of them nuts, because, like, you know, money doesn't always buy it, right? It's the addiction. I was hiking. It's like, where'd you go? I'm like, I'm not going to tell you my spot, right? Like, you wouldn't hike there if I told you. You wouldn't come with me if I tried to take you, Eric. You like to pull up to the nice, comfortable spot, right? And
fair weather fisherman.
it took a lot of years that some of the best spots on the island are pretty radical Jeep trails. It wasn't until I was in my 20s that I had money and a really good 4-wheel drive truck that I worked hard to have to get me to these places, right? There's some insane places, you know, we're casting in anywhere from 100 to 300 feet of water off the rocks in the blues. You're in Wahoo or Ono lanes right there. The boats come trolling by and checking us out when we're there. And so some of these spots we're popping from now and jigging off the rocks.
Really?
So there's a lot of new fishery going on here on the Big Island. People are catching 100+ pound yellowfin tuna, all kinds of pelagic species off the rocks.
Really? Just because of the drop off?
It's so deep, so close, you know. there's really only a handful of places in the world that you're catching pelagics off the rocks.
Right.
And we're still kind of one of the newfound places that's doing that, you know.
Has anyone caught a billfish off the rocks yet?
Oh, yeah. So
Really?
South Point, the very tip of South Point, Kala'e. I was telling you, the first recorded fishing tournaments in the world were by the Hawaiians, and it was right there.
Really?
So you have the giant point that comes out, South Point. Remember, I was teaching you the windward side of the island, the leeward side. The leeward's protected from the mountains, windward side. From the northern tip all the way around to the southern tip, the trade winds blow 80% of the year, generally northeasterly winds, ramming into our mountain range, wrapping up and around the mountains and around the whole island. Kona, on the west side, is all the leeward, protected by all these mountains. So you have this calm, beautiful water. Honokahau Harbor is our main marina here in Kona. We're the blue marlin capital of the world. We're pretty much centrally located on the leeward side of the island. 80% of the year, the water's like glass. There's no wind, there's no wave. You see local guys out there fishing little 14-foot boats that are just like, a lot of these skiffs. One of the biggest marlin caught in the last recent history, I think, was over 1,300 pounds on a 21-foot skiff. He's out there kind of commercial fishing, but there's lots of stories like that. Like, so we have a fishing season. Most places around the world have a fishing season. We joke the fish are on vacation. They come and have a season, but our harbor and islands are the only place in the world that there's been 1,000-pound plus blue marlin caught every month of the year over the course of history.
Really?
January, February, March. So when I was working pretty consistent deckhanding, November was the only month of the year that hadn't caught a grander. This is roughly, I don't know, maybe within the last 20 years. Can't remember exactly. Chuck, who I captained for, hooked up sport fishing. We joke about this story because he caught the right fish for the right guy. So Brad Pickens, now the owner of Easy Pickens, awesome program, great company, great boat, beautiful boat, good people. Brad had been fishing here for many years, just chartering different boats, meeting different captains, seeing different programs, and Chuck was on a roll that year. He caught a bunch of giant blue marlin, and we let go the majority of our blue marlin, right? We sport fish them unless they die or we have to take them, or we have a luau or a party Hawaiian culture. We're sharing and giving all the time if we can help somebody out. He let go, I think 3 or 4 that he was calling all of them, estimating them at 750 to 800 pounds. And you see some of the pictures of them, they're giant.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, I don't know, we're all trying to catch 1,000-pounder here in Kona. So Chip, my mentor I spoke of before, a longtime friend, like he is telling Chuck, like, if you're questioning if that thing looks like 900 pounds or bigger, like he just takes them because you can't always tell. If it has shoulders or back behind its head, it'll carry the weight, you know. And
right.
So he let go of several already that year, and then Chip's telling him that because Chip's seen a couple pictures, the last ones, he's like, man, I'm pretty sure you let go of grander. You know what I mean? Like, those are giant fish. You know what I mean, it's good to take one every once in a while.
If you're right there on the borderline, I mean, there's only one way to be sure, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that 100 pounds on a fish that's over 900 is hard to read in the water. Yeah. It's just a giant fish.
Be a little
and
thick and...
I mean, it's a fish of a lifetime. A lot of people who just never see anything remotely close to that big, right?
Yeah.
A small blue marlin in Kona is generally 100, 200 pounds. Like, a lot of people come here charter fishing, and there's other places, Cabo or certain places, they have a lot more fish. It's bigger fish, you know, they're different. A Pacific blue marlin, they're anything over 500, it's going to give you a run for your money. They're big, powerful, strong, dangerous fish, yeah. So anyway, Chuck catches a big one, another big one. He's with the guy Brad Pickens, brings it up, remembers what Chip says, and they're just like, man, I don't know, this thing. They took it, 975. It's kind of like my Ulua at 98.5, right? And it was the month of November, and November never had a grander caught yet. So Brad actually mounted that fish and has it on his wall in his condo in Kona. He's from Oregon, lives in Oregon. He owns a beautiful boat here in Kona. Chuck manages.
You know what they caught it on?
can't remember if it was a Joe Yee super plunger. I know that summer his Joe Yee super plunger was biting like crazy.
Really?
And Joe Yee no longer, that lure can be worth 800 to 1,000. They're handmade one at a time. They're like a very special, is very, very historic as far as fishing, marlin fishing goes around the world. Anybody that's in the industry has probably heard of them or knows about them. I have friends that have some that stay on the shelf at home that they don't go in the water anymore, right?
Right.
I could be wrong if that was the lure or not, but the right fish for the right guy. When Chuck caught that 975 for Brad, Mr. Pickens, Brad decided, you know what, I'm hooked. I've been coming here 20 years doing this, but I want to catch a grander in Kona, and I just love fishing, and I love Kona, and he lives in Oregon, but bought a boat. He hired Chuck they went Alabama, Florida. They were all over shopping for a boat, looking for a boat, and found that 54-foot Hatteras and shipped it here from San Diego. And they're yet to get their grander. I've yet to get mine. They're chasing it. I still fish with them once in a while, but I got into that whole charter gig after Ulua fishing. Ulua fishing is very intricate. You got to know how to tie your knots. It's a single 80-pound with a bimini twist. You double up your 80-pound bimini to a double Albright wind on 250-pound scratch line. That's how I run mine. So it's a lot of very intricate knot tying, So getting into fishing on the marlin boats, where a lot of it was crimps, and our line tying with the lure fishing helped us with like line splicing, and like most of the boats now, they used to run doubles on their marlin rigs or on any of their trolling rigs. Now they're generally running a single, but they'll do the bimini straight to the swivel, where it's a single bimini,
Right.
without a double line or any of that. It's very clean. If you're fishing the 130, then that's the way to go. A lot of the world records that were ever set are all in Kona here. I mean, there's crazy world records. There's if I'm not mistaken, I think it's 1,100-pound blue marlin on 30-pound test. There's 1,000-pounders on 30, 50, 80, 100, 130.
Really?
Yeah, and there's spearfish and sailfish set on like, I think, 4-pound and 6-pound.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there's crazy records. There's all this history in Kona. And there's a lot we could talk about at other times on that too, because there's an old saying that fishermen built this town. And that's the reality of it, yeah. The fishing and boating here is what, I'm now in my snorkel company and take people to look at fish and dolphins and manta rays and all that. But I'm a tried and true fisherman.
Right.
I had so much to bring to the table, and my knowledge and understanding of the reef and the water and the ocean helped me be so good at what I'm doing with these tourists snorkeling, because I know all the Hawaiian fish names, and I'm a hunter-gatherer, and I spearfish all of these fish, and they're my resource. I refer to this ocean behind us as my refrigerator. It's my office. It's my mistress. It's all of the above, right?
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. I told that to my wife when I met her. I said, this is you'll have to share me with my mistress. And she's like, I don't share. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't do that kind of stuff. I said, no, it's the ocean. I'm referring to the ocean as my mistress. She kind of laughed, said, oh, I thought you mean something else, right? I said, no, this is my mistress. She said, well, that's easy. And I said, that's funny, because every girlfriend I've ever had said it was easy, and none of them stick out very long, a year or two, and they're down the road. They don't get it, right?
Yeah.
Like, and after me and her were together some years, be like, you're being a jerk. You need to go to the ocean. Go to your mistress. You need to go fishing, yeah? And
That's a good wife.
yeah, I
She
said,
gets
hey,
it.
this might work out.
Yeah.
It was a couple years into it, and I'll never forget my mom. We were like 2 years in. My mom's like, my son really likes you. And she's like, what do you mean? She's like, I've never seen him move his fishing equipment out of the living room for any other woman before. And she realized it was dead serious.
Yeah.
Like, fishing equipment, right? I got a bunch of Shimano Tiarga 80s for my boat, for trolling. I got half a dozen of some of the best spear guns around. I like all these different brands. Maybe one day I'll get some sponsorship, but for now I play with all my different guns, and I have my favorite guns, right?
We're going to have to get you some kinetics, man.
I'd love to check them out.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm diving a Pathos right now. Really love it. Laser Pro. I have my Rife C3 wood gun. I've had that thing 25 years, still
Yeah.
nailing fish, right?
Wood's the
But
way to go, man. Teak
um,
is will outperform all the carbon, plastic, and
yeah,
metal guns any day of
I've
the
got
week.
a 5 6 band ocean born Italian gun, blue water gun. It's
Okay.
beautiful, beautiful gun. You know, the right place here. It just doesn't get used much. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like you're pretty versatile with a good reel on a lot of in between guns. You don't really necessarily need those giant guns anymore unless
Yeah.
you're really getting into some giant tuna or marlin or something like that. But
So I mean, what a place to live and grow up and make a living. I mean, there's obviously so much diversity here on the Big Island. I mean, we were out for what 4 hours a day, and we just saw everything from turtles to octopus to the reef. I mean, it was absolutely incredible. So, what's your favorite thing to guide for?
um, I like sharing. There's so much history and knowledge. I like creating these friendships. They're lifelong relationships, as most people know in Hawaii. Ohana, yeah, like water like-minded people getting to link up, and then just the history here of the island and all it has to offer. We're surrounded. We're a pebble in the middle of the Pacific, surrounded by water of some of the best fishing and diving and everything. Right. I do spearfishing charters. I take people doing that. Nowadays, I really love. I'm a It'll always be my resource and refrigerator, but pretty much day in, day out, we're taking people snorkeling and taking tourists on the reef and letting them. Sometimes I have more fun and enjoyment shooting a GoPro as opposed to shooting a spear gun, right? Like
Absolutely.
today we got to pet and hold an octopus, you know, and being able to find those at will and go and tickle them out, bring them up and pet them and hold them and let a tourist hold them. I get a kick when people go to Maui. There's an aquarium there, and they're like, "Why is there no aquariums on the Big Island?" We were in the
Yeah,
aquarium
you're
this
surrounded
morning.
by it.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
don't need an aquarium here. Like to do that in the wild, we're not in a petting zoo, right?
Right.
Like when I'm free diving with those turtles, even, and they're pretty much just bumping off you. You know, when you're ocean like minded, I was telling you guys this morning, think like a turtle, right? Like
Yeah.
when we're not thrashing or moving, they just come right there and chill with you. Even all the fish on the reef, if you're just blending in with the rest of everybody else and when I'm getting to shoot with the camera. Um, Uluas, I spear dive and shoot uluas. Honestly, it's my addiction shorecasting and getting them on rod and reel off the rocks. I'm still in pursuit of that 100 pounder.
Right.
When you dive the reef long enough and you're a good diver in Hawaii, you learn houses and holes and caves. Oh, an ulua house is generally holding the majority of the times. You go check it, see if they're in there or not. If they're in there and you learn how to approach and not spook them or anything, I wouldn't call it shooting fish in the barrel because that fish can or will drown you.
Yeah.
But if you're able to get, their caves generally are anywhere 30 being on the shallow end, 30 to 40 feet, can be anywhere to 100 plus feet deep, creep down over the ledge into the cave, into their hole. Even clicking your fins is enough to alarm them.
Right.
They're gone. So being able to be so in the moment and present in your hunt and your approach, whether shooting with the GoPro or shooting with your spear gun, but dropping on the reef and falling off into the hole and ledge without startling them, they'll swim out right up to you and check you out in and out of the hole. So if or when you're hunting, and it takes a lot of skill to obtain over a course of time to be able to do that, and then trying to get a good shot to stone it. Because a big one, if you don't stone it, kill it dead, it can
It's gonna
take
take
you
you for
for
a
a
run.
ride.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
absolutely.
you're generally down in a hole or a cave at anywhere from 40 to 100 feet of water, right? So
Yeah.
I have shot some pretty nice ones. Recently, I was like, do I really want, maybe I need to shoot one over 100 before trying to catch it on rod and reel. I've been
Mm.
trying since I just made 47, right? I mean, my first lure was at 12, and it's like, it is what it is. I accept it. I accept it's part of my journey and my challenge, right? Like
Yeah.
one day it'll happen, when you least expect it. My biggest lure is right around 70 pounds. I've put my client on a spearfishing charter on a 72 pounder a couple of years back, and he's been coming with me every year for years. And I don't really advertise a ton. Picks a certain kind of person, right? And
Yeah, I mean, especially spearfishing in general, I feel is a very niche sport, and then you start to get into kind of the extreme stuff, right?
Yeah,
Where you're
that's on the extreme spectrum.
yeah, exactly.
I take a
Yeah.
lot of people first time spearfishing, and I'm good at what I do. I put people on fish. I think there's only 1 or 2 occasions where I took people spearfishing for their first time ever, and where they didn't get a fish.
Yeah.
Um,
It's cool to say that you talked about that transition where sometimes you have more fun behind the GoPro than the camera. I think as a guide, I know I had that moment where, I'd get in the water and oh man, I'd see it and I'd think about it. Man, I don't even wish I had the spear gun right now. It's cool to be able to get your client and see that excitement and,
Yeah.
and that passion of their first yellowtail or their first bluefin or whatever it may be. The pictures and just,
Yeah.
you're helping somebody else achieve their dreams
the
with
stoke
your
is
expertise.
real, right? And
it's
when
incredible.
when you're putting them on that day, Will speared that 72 pounder, and I'm backing him up. So he dropped on the ledge, and we spoke about this hole earlier. It's the same hole where that other guy, I shot a giant one. He shot a 9-pounder papio. So a juvenile jack is a papio, 10 pounds and over is an ulua. So there's a juvenile named papio, and maturity is ulua. And like I said, there was like 20 in the hole, and I told him, take your time, take your pick. Well, he's so pumped for the moment. He goes down, the first one comes out, and he shoots like this 9-pound papio, and that 90-pound ulua came out and tried to eat it out of his arms. And that was that story I was telling you earlier, right? This crazy, that same hole is where Will speared his 72-pounder, and he dropped down. It came out the back. He's laying there. It came out, was looking at him, turned. He was down over a minute and a half. And he didn't have the shot, and he finally learned with me over the course of time, if you don't have the shot, don't take the shot.
It takes people years to learn that because everyone just they think they're
Right.
not going to get
It's
another
like,
one.
don't Hail Mary it and kill the fish. That's how you're going to get hurt. You could
Right.
get killed. We don't want to kill the fish. That
Yeah.
fish will be around for another day, right? Like, so all these things, and like, it was a proud moment as the guide that had been teaching him for years. He's been diving with me. And I thought for sure he's going to squeeze the trigger. It was a long shot. He didn't. The lure looked at him, turned a couple of times, went back down in the hole. He came up. He's like, man, I wanted to take it so bad. But I said, but you didn't. And the fish is still in the hole. And I know the hole's so good. You were on the back door. Now it's sitting in this pocket. There's 2 different pockets. Like, this is like being the guide and knowing the zone, right? And I'm like, so it's going to be on this side, so you're going to drop on this side and come in this way right now, and he's going to be in your face, so be ready. It's a big fish. I couldn't even tell at that time when I first seen it. It's hard to control yourself. Your heart goes out of your chest because I seen it from above going in and out of the hole once or twice. I knew it was a big one. And so he does his drop. I said, look, I'm going to do a safety. And I've learned from guiding with other people getting in situations, better let him hit the top, go down, and get ready for his shot before I try to back him up, to be there for safety. So he goes down on the front side now, just like I told him, creeps over the front. I see him creep, kind of just poking his head in with his gun, sliding in. And so I knew he's getting ready. So I just started doing my drop, and I heard him squeeze the trigger. And I watch him just disappear into the cave. And so I'm swimming on the exit, because a lot of times if he doesn't get a shot and it's dragging the line through the rocks or whatever, you want to make sure now that if you shot the fish, that if we need a backup shot, we'll get a backup shot so we don't kill the fish or lose the fish, right? And so as I'm dropping down, I see him crawl under the ledge and go in there. I see the fish glide out. He stoned it perfect. I didn't realize I was halfway down that, like,
You got a good shot.
He had the money shot.
There you go.
So the fish comes out, and he basically just catches it in his hands, and he's swimming up.
Smiling the entire way up. Yeah.
He didn't see me, so I stopped, swam up, and he swims up. When he hits the surface, I'm so stoked. I'm like, I scared the crap out of him. He jumped out because he'd been down on his dive shot at Stone. He's swimming up. He's still underwater the whole time. So the second he hits the surface for his breath of fresh air is when I came up from behind and jumped on him, going nuts, right? It scared the crap out of me. He said, whoa, what the hell? And I'm like, you listen, right? You stoned it. You killed it. 1 shot, 1 kill. So it is all about, homie, years of us diving together. We've been on some incredible missions. I've taken him on 2-night and 3-day camping, catch and cook. I'm feasting like all the fish we're shooting. He stays at my house. We got the Chinese restaurant that cooks my fish for us. We did 2 nights on the rocks, 3 days out there. The last night, take all this stuff to the Chinese restaurant. They buy a bunch of it. They cook us all sweet and sour whole fish, Chinese steamed fish, honey walnut glaze, all these. I brought it back to the house. We had lobster that trip. Had this huge spread at my house, and they just crashed the night at my house, part of my extended ohana. And so they're only here 3 nights, and then dropped them at the airport the next morning.
So, I mean, that's what makes all the difference right there, right? This isn't, you book a tour at the hotel and, oh, we're going to go out snorkeling for the day. I mean, they're getting to see what it's like to live on the Big Island, to go around with a local, to become a part of that ohana. And, it sounds like a pretty epic trip.
Like you said, we're living it.
Yeah.
It's not like there's a... I learned long ago there's a big difference between visiting a place and blending in and living it with the people and the locals. It doesn't matter where you go, right?
Right.
That's what it's all about. And that trip was cool because they called me that South Point. It's so hard to get the fishing spot. We have a bunch of friends that kind of have a rotation that, you actually have a calendar and schedule. We'll tap in like, hey, these days are open. Can you come? So-and-so's not coming. It's free. And our busy lives and schedule. So it's called Suicide Rock right at the tip of the point there. And he just kind of randomly called me and said, hey, we're going to Cabo on this big spearfishing trip. They usually go down there. It's close from Sacramento and San Jose area. Yeah. And like, he's like, man, we had this whole trip planned and it canceled and we can't go. And like, I've got time off from work. He's like firefighter, EMT guy, all this stuff. And
oh man,
he's like, man, we're super bummed. Like, we don't even tell the wives, right? Like, we got time off and our bags are loaded and we're supposed to be flying out. Like, is there any way like that we can pay you to take us on we'll rebook our tickets to Hawaii. We'll just come there. And I'm like, sometimes it's like the right fish when the stars align. Yeah. I said, well, I leave tomorrow down this Suicide Rock. I got the rock. Like, I have 2 nights and 3 days and pick you up from the airport. So I picked them up at the airport and dropped them off. We stayed 2 nights on the rocks, diving, fishing, 1 night at my house, feasting, and took them back to the airport and they went home. That was their best trip they've ever had with me so far in the Big Island. They've been with me probably 8-10 times. Like, besides this 72-pounder,
So for guys coming out and they want to come and they want to book a excursion with you, they want to see what it's like to do Big Island right. I mean, what do you recommend? 4 days, 5 days? I mean, walk me through what that entire excursion
You can't ever
like.
get long enough. So I know most of our busy lives only allow what we can get. It's worth the travel. You got to make the travel across the Pacific, right? Yep. You cannot learn it or see it all in a lifetime. I can't be held accountable for newfound addictions. The Big Island is an addiction in itself, yeah? The cool thing here, we have so much on the island. I love getting to meet the kids and bring the wife. And the wife will let you probably stay longer if she's with you instead of just taking off, right? So Will, that guy, my firefighter buddy, his wife loves staying at the super beautiful Mauna Kea Beach Hotel, very high-end, fancy hotel. So they're there with all the kids. I take his kids shore fishing off the rocks. I do shore fishing charters, go down, catch a bunch of different species of reef fish. Those kids don't want to sit on a charter boat 8 hours and drag lures and maybe get a bite, maybe see a marlin. That's not fun for them.
Right.
I can take them down for a half morning charter, 4 hours. The last group I took several boys and their dad showed up and grandpa was hanging out. I had chairs and tent and shade. Well, we caught 7 species of reef fish, all kinds of fish. Learn about them, see them, catch them, release them. They wanted to eat a few, no problem. We just started having a rule implementing fishing license here. Easy to get. I think it's $20 for the day, something of that sort. But anyhow, I was able to cater to the kids. Makes mom happy. She had a day alone at the spa. I'm with dad and the kids. We're fishing. They get a few days together as a family. Dad gets his time. He comes with me. We do a private spearfishing chart on my boat. Went shot the 72-pound Ulua.
Everybody's happy.
Like, everybody's happy.
Something for everybody on the Big Island.
Everybody, yeah.
I love
Something
it.
for everybody, yeah. And,
I love it.
I'm working hard because I do all of it. Realistically, I kind of do all of it. If there's any little particular thing I don't have an avenue to, I can send you in the right directions, right?
I love it.
Like horseback riding or maybe a helicopter ride. It's really versatile, everywhere. Every vacation you go, it's like how how much money do you have to spend? If you got lots to play, it's easy to go do all the cool stuff, right? Well, most of us are trying to manage our money and get as much as we can for a reasonable amount of money, yeah? So part of what I'm doing is trying to be an overall concierge. So when you call me and book any of my tours with me, I give them the courtesy of, hey, you need to eat here. We went to Halei'a, the fish house. We just had poke bowls for lunch. That was $20.
Right.
I think I paid 24 with a tip for a 2-choice giant poke bowl.
Not bad at all.
Like you go down here to any of these hotels in this area and they're catering to the rich, and that's great if you're rich and you got a bunch of money. For me, I'm trying to help my clients spend their money wisely so they could maybe book 2 or 3 charters with me, right?
Exactly. More days fishing.
That's it. You
Absolutely.
can make it reasonable and eat right. Stay in a condo. Don't stay in a hotel room. There's beautiful condos here that you can get 2-bedroom condos with grills and pools and water slides and get the little taste of the modernized Hawaii, and then come hang out with me and see what real Hawaii is about, yeah?
I love it.
Because the outer islands is, I just did a weekend in Waikiki, and it just blows my mind being there in the crowds and the people. And
It's
the
not
hustle
real
and
Hawaii.
bustle. No, it's crazy.
Yeah.
The lady at the front desk was super nice. She hooked us up a beautiful room looking at Waikiki and Diamond Head. Anywhere I go, I try to share aloha, because that was instilled with me. My wife, she's still getting used to it because she's from California, and it's like, you want to talk to everybody, you'll be here all day, and it's like people love when someone's nice. You know how many jerks they deal with all day long? Everywhere. The airport, the rental car place, right? The front desk. I start talking to her. I give her a business card, like, you ever done the Mantis? Oh, I really want to do that. And like, all the time I ask people if they've been to Hawaii, and they say, oh, I've been to Maui, or I've been to Oahu. I'm like, you've never seen Hawaii. That's not Hawaii. Like, it's a piece of Hawaii, but it's not, as I told you a bunch today, we have 8 geological microclimates that exist on the Big Island. Only the Big Island. There's not another spot on planet Earth that has that. When I say we're the best place on the planet, I'm not just being biased, or you do not have another spot on planet Earth with 8 geological climates. You got to wrap your head around that. Yeah, like, even with spearfishing or hunting, you like to hunt, you can hunt sheep or pigs and go spearfish in the afternoon. Or have a Mai Tai with your wife at the hotel that's cool with you to go hunting because you're able to do it.
That's something we're going to have to do, a surf and turf trip here coming soon and start doing some of that.
Yeah, you said you'll be back in a month.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're stoked. We're stoked, man. So how do people get a hold of you?
Liquid Hawaii is my website, liquidhawaii.com. You can go on there. Instagram is Liquid Hawaii. There's tons of incredible footage on there. I got an awesome team behind me. I do a lot of filming. I was helping film today. That was a lot of fun. Excited to see how that turned out. My captain, Kieran, is my main worker for my program. He's 31. He's a little more tech savvy. There you go. So he does a lot of filming as well. It's a fair trade-off. I've taught him how to find taco or octopus. We call him he'e in Hawaiian. And filming. So we do a lot of filming together, me and him. And he's doing a lot of the editing. He's the one doing and handling Instagram. You go on there, incredible footage of whales. Humpback season's only 3 or 4 months around the winter. Petting and holding octopus, turtles at the turtle car wash.
I love it.
Moray eels, name it.
Something for everybody. Yeah. Well, it's exciting, man. Well, hey, man, thank you very much for being on the show. We really appreciate it. Absolutely. And we're definitely going to have to get back out here soon, do another episode, and tell these guys about all the adventures that we're having out here.
Yes, sir. It's a lifetime. You'll never see it in a lifetime. So looking forward to sharing more. So
I love it. Ulua Matt, everybody.
All right.
Thanks for listening.
Aloha.